Hello beautiful people, and yes, I'm talking to each and every one of you. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. My name is Kendra, but before I get into this video, make sure you head over to that subscribe button and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you leave today. Alright, so here's another paint video. I've gotten some pretty good feedback from the first two that I did, and for this one I thought I'd just try a different angle. So basically we've had these roses from Valentine's Day and they're starting to die now. However, I wanted to get some kind of use out of them, so I thought that I would just experiment and try to paint with one. So this is what you're going to watch me do today. But as for the topic, I'll be talking about a few reasons why some people are actually afraid to heal. The number one reason why some people may be afraid to heal mentally is because it's hard. It's not an easy thing to do. It's very hard and time consuming, and it could almost feel like a chore. Especially if you have a lot of unresolved trauma, you have to bring yourself back to those experiences and allow yourself to process all the emotions if you didn't get to process them properly back then. And it could also be hard to figure out what is really wrong. You'll find yourself constantly discovering new traumas that your mind probably repressed, and rediscovering or revisiting trauma can bring on a lot of new emotions, and you just don't want to feel that. That's why a lot of us just go numb, because that's the easier way out, is just to numb it. Whether you use some kind of substance like a drug or alcohol, it's just easier, and I get that. I'm not gonna say that, hey, I've been great at healing this whole time. There have been times where I would get so far into my healing and then I'd have something they call like a relapse, and that's okay because it's gonna happen. Because you're human. The only thing that really matters with relapse is if you at least continue to just get back up on your feet and try again, keep trying again, and each time will get better and better. Healing can be time consuming, especially if you are taking some type of therapy, like for example DBT. It does involve a lot of worksheets. Sometimes you'll get homework, even if it's not DBT. I find that when I did have that one-on-one time with my therapist, they even gave me some homework, like actual worksheets to complete. It can be discouraging when you don't get your homework done and you just feel like, oh, I'm not good enough for this, I don't have the strength for this. Just keep trying. And you also have to remember that every little bit of progress counts. No matter how big, no matter how small, if it's the smallest step that makes you feel good, it counts. It matters. One thing that took some time for me to understand is with therapy, you can't expect it to just fix you, because you can only help a person who wants to be helped, who is willing to put in that effort and willing to do the work. And it's not to be used as just like a band-aid, just to be like, oh, I'm gonna walk into my therapist's office and I'm gonna come out a whole new person and just brand new and fixed up. That's not the case at all. They're there to give you the tools that you can use to help yourself, because the only person that can really help you and fix you is you. It's like that saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot force it to drink. So reason number two that people may be afraid to heal is they might lose people. You might lose people in your family, in your friends, depending on what type of support they're willing to provide for you. If they're trying to be a part of your support system, or will they just keep telling you, oh, you're not good enough for this, and if they're just there to verbally abuse you and tear you down. Even when you are having like those relapses, they should be there to support you and not make you feel like complete crap for falling off for like a day or so. It's okay. Not every day is going to be perfect, and you want the people closest to you to support you and speak a positive language to you. So it's okay if you lose people. Some people might not support the way you heal. They might not support how you choose to heal. For example, some people didn't really want to support me because I chose to heal without medication initially. I'm still not on medication, and I just stood my ground. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you need this and that, and it's like, people don't realize it's not one size fits all. This is why there's so many different types of antidepressants. You know, one type of antidepressant might work for this person, but it might have a whole completely different effect on the other person. And that's what people don't realize, is it's not what works for you might not work for me. And everyone's journey is different. Everyone is unique. So you really choose the way you want to heal based on what you are comfortable with, based on what you feel like will help you the most. Sometimes it is a matter of just choosing a whole different group of people to surround yourself with, because if you surround yourself with people who aren't maybe they're not as self-aware as you are, or maybe they're just stubborn and stuck in their ways and they don't want to learn and grow with you. They just want to stay where they are, where they're comfortable. Maybe that's not the best group of people to be around. And it can be scary to think that you need to get new friends, because if you're like me and you have social anxiety, you already struggle to make a new friend to begin with. So of course you're going to be comfortable with the friends that you already have, because you already made it past that awkward stage of like getting to know each other, and even just something as simple as saying hi for the first time. You know, it can be hard. I understand that. I get that. And especially if the people that you lose are a part of your family, like by blood, that could be really hard as well, because those are supposed to be your people, right? But don't feel like just because you're related by blood that you absolutely need to keep those people in your life, especially if they're causing you loads of emotional distress, and if they're being verbally abusive and they're not supporting anything that you do. Just because you're related by blood doesn't mean you need to keep them in your life. You can love them from a distance. And this doesn't mean that you're not wishing the best for them. You don't have to bash them or disrespect them in any way. You can just gently distance yourself from that person. You may get a whole new identity, and that is terrifying, because if you are comfortable with who you are right now, not knowing who you're going to change into is just, it's scary. I even find myself these days looking back and missing different parts of myself when I was not aware of all of my mental health struggles, when I was completely blind and numb to everything. I almost feel like I was stronger in those days because I didn't have any trouble going to work, and I didn't have any trouble being alone. When I lived alone in my 1-bedroom apartment, I was happy. I was content. I was happy to be alone. And now these days, it's like, it might be, I don't know, maybe a COVID related thing, but I know that back then, if I lived in my 1-bedroom apartment and it was COVID, it wouldn't affect me as much as it affected me today, because I love to be alone anyway. I barely hung out with friends. I would get invited out to places, but I would always be like, no, I'm just gonna stay in and watch my Netflix and sketch some pictures and call it a night. And I was happy and content with that. I did move out here to Alberta with an ex, and after we split, I had no one here. I didn't have any family members, none of my childhood best friends or anything. I had to make friends basically like from scratch because I came to a whole new province. And so I just got really good at being alone. And looking back, I was able to go to work and just like tough it out, just smash out like 10 hours of just being on my feet and come home and I'd feel just fine. And I say I felt fine, but I really didn't, because then I would sleep for like 15 hours. and that's the thing that keeps me coming back to positive thoughts towards my healing process, because I keep looking back and saying, oh, I miss this and that about me. However, I am well aware of the symptoms of things like depression and other mental illnesses, and I can look back and recognize them and realize I actually was not okay. I was just in survival mode, so I just pushed myself. And because I'm human, eventually my body had reached its limit. And if you don't take a rest, I learned that your body will force you to take a rest. If you are worried about getting like a whole new identity and you're anxious about who that might be, because you can't really see yourself outside of your struggle, remember that you can still potentially keep the good parts of yourself. And maybe this new identity will be even better. And just think of your new identity in more of a positive light, like you're going to change for the better, not for the worse. The very first step that you can take to begin your healing is to get on some type of list for a therapist or a counselor, or get your doctor to refer you to a psychiatrist as well, because that's the biggest, most important step, is to reach out for help. And just take it day by day. Don't think that you have to be perfect. Just because you're in your healing process doesn't mean every day will be perfect. If you feel bad one day, just remember that, okay, tomorrow's a new day and you can try again. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and feel free to share my videos with all your friends. I appreciate your support and you guys watching today. Thank you.